English Leap Podcast.
Learn easy English with Speak English Like a Pro. Hey, English learners, welcome back to the English Leap Podcast, your cozy place to learn easy English through real-life conversations and real feelings at the same time.
Yeah, welcome back, everyone. And today, I need to apologize to someone.
Right now on the podcast?
Right now, on the podcast, in front of everyone.
Who are you apologizing to?
To every English learner who has ever been in a situation where they did something wrong, genuinely felt terrible about it, and then opened their mouth to apologize in English, and what came out was just, sorry.
Just sorry.
One word, flat, tiny, like throwing a single grain of rice at someone who is genuinely hungry.
The one grain of rice apology.
And the other person is standing there expecting something real, something warm, something that shows you actually understand what happened and genuinely care about fixing it. And you hand them one grain of rice.
And the problem is not that sorry is a bad word. Sorry is a beautiful word. It is just that one word alone, with no context, no explanation, no warmth, no acknowledgement of what actually went wrong, lands completely empty.
It sounds like the minimum, like you're doing the least possible amount of apologizing before moving on with your life.
And relationships, whether with friends, colleagues, partners, or anyone, are not maintained on minimum effort apologies.
So today, we are fixing this completely. We are walking you through the entire art of apologizing in English, from the very first word to the very last.
The phrases that make people feel genuinely heard, the sentences that rebuild trust, the words that transform a moment of awkwardness into a moment of actual connection.
Because a well-delivered apology is not just damage control. It is one of the most powerful human communication tools that exists.
And in English, with the right language, it is completely achievable, regardless of your level.
This is a B1 level episode. Clear, warm, and deeply practical. We will explain all the important vocabulary as we go, and at the end, we will have our word tour with 10 essential expressions you can use immediately.
Before we begin, one small but important request. If this podcast gives you the English you need for real life, not just classroom English, but the English that actually matters in the actual moments of your actual life, please like this episode and subscribe to the English Leap podcast. We put everything into these episodes for you.
And in the comments today, we want to know, what is the hardest situation for you to apologize in? Is it at work, with a friend, with family? Tell us. Your comment might become our next episode.
Okay, before we get into the language, I want to talk about something that most people completely skip when they think about apologizing. And skipping it is why so many apologies fail, even when the words are technically correct.
What did they skip?
Understanding why the apology is needed in the first place.
Say more.
Most people approach an apology as a transaction. I did something wrong, I say sorry. The problem goes away, transaction complete.
But the other person is not a vending machine. You cannot just insert the correct words and receive forgiveness on demand.
The vending machine.
Insert one sorry, collect your forgiveness. Please take your receipt.
And we have all tried it. We have all delivered that kind of hollow apology and then felt confused and slightly irritated when the other person did not immediately respond with, "No problem, all forgiven, let's move on."
Because the other person felt the hollowness. They felt that the apology was about making you feel better rather than about making them feel seen.
And that's the fundamental difference between an apology that works and an apology that does not. An apology that works is about the other person. An apology that does not work is secretly about yourself.
When you say sorry quickly just to end the discomfort, that sorry is for you. It is to relieve your own guilt, to close the awkward chapter as fast as possible.
And people feel that. Even when they can't name it, they feel it.
But when you take a breath, when you actually acknowledge what happened, when you show that you understand the impact of what you did on the other person, that apology lands completely differently.
It lands like truth, and people trust truth.
So, before we give you the phrases, we want you to carry this understanding into every apology you ever make. The goal is not to fix your discomfort, the goal is to acknowledge their experience.
Do that, and the words will carry genuine weight, regardless of how simple or complex they are.
Okay, now let's get into the actual language, because this is where it gets really useful.
We are going to walk through 4 different apologizing situations, from casual and light all the way to serious and deep, and we'll show you exactly what to say in each one.
Situation 1. The small, everyday mistake. The kind that happens between friends, between colleagues, between people who know each other well and like each other.
Something like forgetting a lunch plan, or being late to meet someone, or accidentally saying something that came out wrong.
Your friend has been waiting for you at a cafe for 20 minutes. You finally arrive.
You walk in and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry I'm late. I completely lost track of time, and that was really inconsiderate of me. Have you been waiting long?"
Your friend says, "About 20 minutes, yeah. I was starting to wonder if you were coming."
And you say, "I'm genuinely sorry. You took time out of your day to be here, and I did not respect that. Let me get your coffee. It's absolutely the least I can do."
Let's pause there because already, in that short exchange, there are several phrases worth studying.
I completely lost track of time. This means time passed without you noticing. You weren't watching the clock, you got absorbed in something, and the minutes disappeared. Very natural, very honest.
That was really inconsiderate of me. Inconsiderate means you didn't think about how your actions affected the other person. You were thinking only about yourself in that moment. Saying this shows you understand the impact of what you did.
And notice the question immediately after the apology. Have you been waiting long? This is important. Turning attention to the other person right away tells them the apology is about them, not you. You're checking in on their experience.
You took time out of your day to be here, and I did not respect that. Let me get your coffee. It's absolutely the least I can do. Let me get your coffee is what we call a gesture of repair. You're not just saying sorry, you're doing something to make it right, even something small. The gesture shows your words are backed by action.
A gesture of repair. Remember that phrase. It's going to come back in our word tour.
Situation 2, the workplace apology. You made a mistake at work. Maybe you sent an email with wrong information. Maybe you missed a deadline. Maybe you interrupted someone in a meeting without meaning to.
These situations need a slightly more formal tone, more precise, more professional, but still warm and genuine, because professional doesn't mean cold. Here's the scene. Your manager noticed there were some errors in the figures you sent this morning. They come to you.
Your manager says, "I noticed there were some errors in the figures you sent this morning."
And you say, "You are absolutely right, and I sincerely apologize. I should have checked those numbers more carefully before sending. That was my error entirely, and I take full responsibility for it."
Your manager says, "It caused some confusion in the morning meeting."
And you say, "I completely understand, and I'm sorry for the disruption that caused. I've already corrected the figures, and I'm sending the updated report within the hour, and I'll make sure this doesn't happen again."
Let's stop here because the workplace apology has a very specific structure and every part of it matters.
I sincerely apologize. Sincerely is more formal and more weighty than just sorry. It tells the listener this is not a casual throwaway apology. It's genuine and it's meant.
Taking full responsibility means you're not making excuses. You're not explaining why it happened in a way that shifts blame elsewhere. You're simply owning it.
And owning a mistake in a professional environment actually builds trust rather than destroying it, because it shows you're honest and self-aware, which are 2 of the most valued qualities in any workplace.
And I completely understand, and I'm sorry for the disruption that caused. Notice how Sam acknowledged the specific consequence of the mistake. Not just sorry for the error, but sorry for the disruption it caused. Acknowledging the ripple effect shows genuine understanding.
And then the most important part of a professional apology. I've already corrected the figures, and I'm sending the updated report within the hour.
You're not just apologizing, you're solving. You're showing that the problem is already being fixed. In professional settings, action speaks much louder than apology alone.
I will make sure this doesn't happen again. This tells them you're not just reacting to this specific mistake, you're committing to preventing it in the future. That commitment is what managers and colleagues truly need to hear.
So the structure of a professional apology is acknowledge clearly, take responsibility without excuses, acknowledge the impact on others, present your solution, commit to preventing it again.
5 steps. And every single one of them is done with simple, clear, honest English.
Situation 3. The deeper personal apology. When you have hurt someone you care about, a friend, a partner, a family member, and the hurt is real, and it needs more than a sentence.
These are the hardest apologies. Not because the English is complicated, but because the feelings are big and the stakes are high.
Your best friend has been distant with you for a few days. You said something last week without thinking, and it landed badly. You asked to meet and talk.
You sit down together and you say, I have been thinking a lot about what I said last week, and I want to talk about it properly, if that is okay with you.
Your friend says, okay.
And you say, what I said was thoughtless and unkind, and I have been kicking myself about it since the moment it came out. You did not deserve that, not even slightly.
Your friend says quietly, it did hurt. I was not expecting it from you.
And you say, I know, and I am so sorry. Not a quick sorry to make this less awkward, a real one. I value your friendship more than I can properly express, and the last thing I ever want to do is make you feel the way I made you feel last week. Can you tell me how it landed for you? I want to understand properly.
Let us stop, because that last exchange is full of some of the most powerful apologizing language in English.
I want to talk about it properly. Not quickly, not briefly. Properly. This word tells the other person you are not trying to rush through this. You are giving it the time and space it deserves.
I have been kicking myself about it. This is a wonderful, natural expression. Kicking yourself means feeling guilty and frustrated with yourself about something you did. It shows the other person that the mistake has been weighing on you, that you didn't just move on without feeling it.
You did not deserve that, not even slightly. Simple, direct, unqualified. No buts, no howevers, just a clean, clear acknowledgement that what happened was wrong and they did nothing to earn it.
Not a quick sorry to make this less awkward, a real one. This phrase does something remarkable. It addresses the difference between a surface apology and a genuine one directly. You are telling them you are aware of how empty quick apologies can sound, and you are choosing something different.
And then, the most powerful moment. Can you tell me how it landed for you? I want to understand properly.
You are asking them to share their experience. You are inviting them to tell you how they felt. This is the opposite of a transactional apology. This is genuine curiosity about the other person's inner world.
And people feel seen when you ask them that question. Genuinely, deeply seen. Because most people expect an apology to be a monologue. I did wrong, I am sorry, end. But you are turning it into a dialogue.
And dialogue is where real healing happens.
Situation 4. The accidental cultural or social mistake. And this one is especially important for English learners because sometimes you make a mistake not because you were careless, but because you did not yet know a cultural rule or a social norm.
And this happens. It happens to every person learning to navigate a new language and a new culture. You say something that is perfectly normal in your home culture, and it lands strangely in English. Or you do something that is completely fine at home, but is considered rude elsewhere.
And the embarrassment in these moments is double, because you feel bad about the mistake, and you also feel confused about exactly what you did wrong.
Here's the scene. You're at a work dinner. You ask a colleague a question about their salary. In your home culture, this is completely normal conversation, but in English-speaking cultures, it's considered quite private. Your colleague looks slightly taken aback.
You notice the reaction immediately, and you say, "Oh, I am so sorry. I think I just asked something I shouldn't have. That question was too personal, and I apologize. In my home country, we talk about that kind of thing quite openly, but I realize now that is not the case here. Please forget I asked."
Your colleague relaxes and says, "Oh, don't worry at all. It's fine. Different places, different rules."
And you say, "Still, I should have been more careful. I appreciate you being gracious about it.
Let us unpack that exchange.
I think I just asked something I shouldn't have." This phrase is gentle and self-aware. You are not making a dramatic scene. You are quietly acknowledging the misstep and addressing it before it becomes an elephant in the room.
An elephant in the room. This is a great English expression. An elephant in the room is something everyone is aware of, but nobody is talking about. Something obvious and uncomfortable that's just sitting there in the middle of the conversation.
A very large and very awkward animal.
Taking up an enormous amount of social space.
And the best way to deal with an elephant in the room is to name it, which is exactly what you did. In my home country, we talk about that kind of thing quite openly, but I realize now that is not the case here. Please forget I asked. This is important. You are not making an excuse. You are giving context. Context is different from an excuse.
An excuse tries to remove responsibility. Context simply explains the background. It helps the other person understand where you are coming from, without asking them to forgive you because of it.
I appreciate you being gracious about it. Gracious means kind and forgiving in a way that is elegant and warm. Calling someone gracious when they handle your mistake kindly is one of the most beautiful compliments you can give.
And notice the colleague's response. Different places, different rules. A generous and wise response, which you will receive more than you expect when you apologize honestly and openly for a cultural misstep.
Because most people are far more understanding than we fear they will be. Fear makes us expect the worst. Reality is usually much kinder.
Okay, before the word tour, Jason and I want to talk about two things you should never do in an apology, because these two things undo everything else.
Even if every other word is perfect, these two things will break the apology completely.
Number one, never say, "sorry, but."
The sorry but.
The most destructive two words in the English language when placed together. I'm sorry, but you made me feel this way. I'm sorry, but if you hadn't done that, I wouldn't have reacted like that. I'm sorry, but you have to understand my side.
Everything after the word but erases everything before it. But is a word that cancels what came before and introduces a contradiction.
So when you say, "I'm sorry, but," what the other person hears is actually, "Not sorry, here's why this is your fault."
The invisible not sorry sitting right before the but.
If you feel the need to explain your side as well, do it separately. Apologize first, fully, without buts. And then later, after the apology has had space to land, you can have a conversation about your perspective.
But not in the same sentence as the sorry.
Never in the same sentence as a sorry.
Number 2, never apologize for how the other person feels. This is a very sneaky mistake that sounds like an apology, but is actually the opposite.
It sounds like this. I'm sorry you felt hurt by what I said. I'm sorry you took it that way. I'm sorry you were upset.
Do you hear the difference? I'm sorry you felt hurt, not I'm sorry I hurt you. The first version puts the problem on their feelings. The second version puts the responsibility on your action.
I'm sorry you felt hurt says your feelings are the problem. I'm sorry I hurt you says my action is the problem.
One is an apology, one is a disguised blame wrapped in an apology-shaped package.
An apology-shaped package. Looks like an apology from the outside, opens up to reveal blame.
And people can feel the difference instantly. So always apologize for what you did, not for how they responded to what you did.
Your action, your responsibility. Their feelings, their reality.
Okay, word tour time. 10 essential expressions from today. Let's make them permanently yours.
Listen, repeat out loud, picture yourself using each one in a real situation.
First expression, inconsiderate.
Inconsiderate means not thinking about how your actions affect other people. acting only from your own perspective without considering the impact on others.
For example, turning up 20 minutes late without any message was really inconsiderate of me. You were waiting, and I gave no thought to your time.
Or she realized how inconsiderate her comment had been the moment she saw his expression. She spoke without thinking, and the damage was visible immediately. Repeat. Inconsiderate.
Inconsiderate.
Slowly. Inconsiderate.
Next expression. Take full responsibility.
To take full responsibility means to completely own a mistake without shifting any blame to other people or circumstances. You acknowledge that you are the cause and you accept all accountability for it.
For example, I take full responsibility for the error in the report. There is no excuse for it. I should have checked more carefully, and I didn't.
Or, taking full responsibility doesn't weaken you in the eyes of others. It usually does the opposite. It builds trust and shows genuine maturity. Repeat. Take full responsibility.
Take full responsibility.
Take your time. Take full responsibility.
Next expression. Kicking myself.
To kick yourself means to feel guilty, frustrated, and disappointed in yourself for something you did or failed to do. It is an internal punishment, a self-directed frustration.
For example, I have been kicking myself all week about what I said. It came out completely wrong, and I've thought about it every single day since.
Or she was kicking herself for missing the deadline. She had the work ready and simply forgot to send it. Such a preventable mistake. Repeat. Kicking myself.
Kicking myself.
Slowly. Kicking myself.
Next expression. Gesture of repair.
A gesture of repair is a concrete action you take to begin making things right after a mistake. It shows that your apology is backed by real effort, not just words, but a tangible attempt to fix what was broken.
For example, after forgetting her birthday, he sent flowers the next day. It was a small gesture of repair, but it showed he genuinely felt bad and wanted to do something about it.
Or, a good apology without a gesture of repair can feel incomplete. Actions confirm the sincerity of words in a way that words alone sometimes cannot. Repeat. Gesture of repair.
Gesture of repair.
Take your time. Gesture of repair.
Next expression. Gracious.
Gracious means kind, warm, and forgiving in a way that is elegant and generous. A gracious person handles difficult moments with dignity and warmth rather than bitterness or coldness.
For example, she was incredibly gracious about the whole situation. She could have been cold and withdrawn, but instead, she listened with an open heart and accepted the apology genuinely.
Or, I appreciate you being so gracious about my mistake. You had every right to be upset, and your kindness means a great deal to me. Repeat. Gracious.
Gracious.
Slowly. Gracious.
Next expression. Elephant in the room.
An elephant in the room is something obvious and uncomfortable that everyone is aware of, but nobody is talking about. It sits in the middle of the conversation, taking up enormous space, while everyone pretends it is not there.
For example, the tension between them was the elephant in the room for the entire lunch. Neither of them mentioned what had happened, but it was present in every pause and every carefully chosen word.
Or, the best way to deal with an elephant in the room is to name it directly. Acknowledging the awkward thing usually makes it shrink immediately. Repeat. Elephant in the room.
Elephant in the room.
Take your time. Elephant in the room.
Next expression. Context.
Context is the background information or circumstances that help explain why something happened. Context is not an excuse. It does not remove responsibility. It simply provides the fuller picture that helps someone understand where you were coming from.
For example, giving context for a cultural misunderstanding helps the other person see that your mistake came from genuine unfamiliarity rather than from disrespect or carelessness.
Or, understanding the context of someone's behavior does not mean excusing it. It means seeing the full human story behind the action, rather than just a surface. Repeat. Context.
Context.
Slowly. Context.
Next expression. Disruption.
A disruption is something that interrupts the normal flow of things. It causes confusion, delay, or inconvenience. Acknowledging the disruption your mistake caused shows you understand the real-world impact of what happened.
For example, I understand that the incorrect figures caused a disruption in the morning meeting, and I am genuinely sorry for the confusion that created for everyone involved.
Or even small mistakes can cause significant disruption in a professional environment. Acknowledging the disruption is part of a complete and honest apology. Repeat, disruption.
Disruption.
Take your time. Disruption.
Next expression, hollow.
When an apology is hollow, it sounds like an apology on the surface, but feels empty inside. There's no genuine feeling behind it, no real acknowledgement. It is the form of sorry without the substance of it.
For example, his apology felt completely hollow. The words were there, but his tone was dismissive and he moved on before she had even had a chance to respond. It felt like a box being ticked rather than a genuine attempt to reconnect.
Or a hollow apology can actually make things worse than no apology at all. It tells the other person that their feelings are not worth genuine effort. Repeat, hollow.
Hollow.
Slowly, hollow. And our last expression today, sincerely.
Sincerely means in a way that is genuine, honest, and truly felt. When you apologize sincerely, you're not performing an apology. You're actually feeling and meaning every word.
For example, I sincerely apologize for the oversight. It was completely avoidable, and I take full responsibility for ensuring it doesn't happen again.
Or, the difference between a sincere apology and a hollow one is not always in the words. It's in the delivery, the eye contact, the pause before speaking, the willingness to listen to the other person's response. Repeat, sincerely.
Sincerely.
Take your time, sincerely.
That was our word tour for today. 10 expressions that will make your apologies in English feel real, warm, and genuinely heard.
And now, here's our final thought, the thing we most want to leave you with today.
Apologizing well is not a weakness. It's one of the most courageous and emotionally intelligent things a human being can do.
It requires you to put your own discomfort aside, to look at another person and say, your feelings matter more to me right now than my pride does.
And that willingness, that ability to choose connection over ego, is one of the rarest and most beautiful qualities a person can have.
And in English, with the language we gave you today, you can express that quality clearly and powerfully, regardless of your level, regardless of your accent, regardless of how long you've been learning.
Because sincerity doesn't need perfect grammar. It needs a genuine heart behind the words.
And you already have that.
So the next time you need to apologize in English, don't reach for the one grain of rice sorry. Take a breath. Acknowledge what happened. Show them you understand the impact. Offer a gesture of repair and mean every word.
And watch what happens to the relationship on the other side of that apology.
Because a genuine apology doesn't just fix what broke. Sometimes it builds something stronger than what was there before.
And that's worth every single vocabulary word we learned today.
Even the elephant in the room.
Especially the elephant in the room. Name it every time.
If today's episode gave you language that will actually change how you handle real moments in your real life, please like it, subscribe to the English Leap podcast, and share it with one person who has been handing out hollow sorries and wondering why they're not landing.
Because today, we gave them something so much better.
This is Mia.
Wait,
Did I do it again?
you did it again. This is Mia,
And this is Jason.
and you have been listening to the English Leap podcast.
Bye.
Bye. Go out there and apologize beautifully. Someone out there is waiting for a real one from you. Your progress doesn't end here. To continue advancing your English skills, click on the next video or explore the additional videos we've thoughtfully selected for you.